Some of you might know that ROG released a phone recently, and it's the ROG Phone 9 FE. Now this is a weird phone, but I think it's weird in a good way. Why I say it's weird is because this is the first time ROG did such a thing. I originally had a lot of questions as well. Why does this phone exist? And what's the difference between the ROG Phone 9 FE and the others? Should you buy this phone or is it just e-waste? Well, luckily I have all the answers today, so let's answer them. Thanks for liking and subscribing in advance, so let's get into it. Let's talk about what's new and what's not. The ROG Phone 9 FE is a phone that I won't call it as quote-unquote new. It is basically a rebadged ROG Phone 8 with a few changes here and there. For example, it has the same shape and size as the ROG Phone 8 and the ROG Phone 9, but the back is now more sparkly than anything we've seen before. It also has the enemy vision with 341 LEDs, and we can do a lot of customizations on this panel via the Armoury Crate software. However, it does come with the ROG 8 cameras instead of the 8 Pro. So we do not have the telephoto camera here. The camera sensors are basically the same as before, so I'll just quickly show you a bunch of pictures I've taken with this phone, because I think that while the cameras are usable in most cases, that is not the main focus for this phone. The included case with the ROG Phone 9 FE is also the same one as the ROG Phone 9, so we are getting that special audio redirection feature which helps to convert the bottom firing speaker into a stereo front-facing speaker. It really does work, and we have a video talking about it already, so you can check it out at the top right corner there. While we are on that subject, all cases from the ROG Phone 8, the ROG Phone 9, and all of the accessories, including the Aeroactive Cooler X and the Aeroactive Cooler X Pro, are all compatible with the ROG Phone 9 FE too, so that is great news. But we'll have to shift our focus to talk about the performance now. The ROG Phone 9 FE is using the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset. If you've watched our video talking about the best tech of 2024, then the ROG Phone 8 was one of the, and actually the only phone that can handle the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset at its maximum potential. And that remains to be the same here as well. Since the ROG Phone 9 FE is basically a rebadge, the performance is stellar. Since the 8 Gen 3 can run at its max potential, the performance gap when compared to the 8 Elite when it comes to gaming is not that big, for now at least. Games ran perfectly fine on this phone. One thing I have to highlight is that the air triggers on the ROG Phone 9 FE is the same as the ROG Phone 8. If you recall, in our original gaming test for the ROG Phone 8, I had issues with the air triggers as it was not as sensitive, and as it turns out, ROG Phone 8 is the only generation that uses capacitive air triggers. And unfortunately, this phone inherits those capacitive air triggers as well, so that is a big disappointment. However, the software remains the best for a gaming phone. Remember, the ROG phones have a feature to remap controller buttons to become touchscreen presses. Yeah, that feature has been around for many years, and So I even found out this new feature by accident. So as you can see, by default, this is how it goes. Currently, I have mapped the Y button to jump, X button to attack, and then this button to do nothing yet. But I just realized that you can hit the Xbox button here, and then we switch to simulate touch mode. What happens is that you can actually just do this. It's a bit awkward. I'm still trying to adapt to this newfound feature, but it works. So you can see I can use my right stick to become a finger just to press on stuff like, I don't know, opening this, something like that. And once I'm done, press the Xbox button again to hide it. Now I can play the game like this. works great. ROG Phone 9 FE enjoys all of those features, including the brand new Accents 3.0 and all that jazz. The software update policy remains the same as the ROG Phone 9. Yeah, this phone will get an extra year of updates compared to the ROG Phone 8 series, even though the specs are the same. That's weird. If you're concerned about the battery life, then don't. It is using the same 5500 mAh battery, and the battery life remains basically the same as before, and it still lasts a really long time. This phone also includes a 65 watts USB PD PPS charger, and the charging speed is as shown on the screen here. And if we plug it into a USB PD PPS charger of our own, then the charging speed will remain more or less the same, so no surprises there since this is the same as the previous generation as well. As for the screen, now this screen is basically also the same as before, so it's still bright, still brilliant, and the color gamut coverage is also the same as before. Overall screen performance, nothing out of the ordinary if you're coming from the ROG Phone 8. And of course, we do have a few more things to mention about this phone. It does come with a USB 3 port at the side here and a USB 2 port at the bottom, so if you want to get the fastest speed possible, use the side port. And if you want to get display output, use this side port as well. And for our region here, we do get dual SIM card slots, and that's about it. So, why does the ROG Phone 9 FE exist? That is a question that I'm also curious about, because for me, I do think that this phone is in a rather weird position because they are pricing this phone at 2,999 ringgit. This entire package, which I think is gonna disrupt the gaming phone market a lot, since the current ROG Phone 8, as of the time of this recording, is around 3,400 ringgit Malaysia, somewhere around there. So if the ROG Phone 9 FE will undercut the ROG Phone 8 and yet still bring extra features and a extra year of software update policies, then this phone becomes a very good deal. I do believe that this is still a net benefit for all consumers, since you can now get a gaming phone for such a low price. You get great performance even though it's the 8 Gen 3, but as shown in our test, the 8 Gen 3 is still a very powerful chipset to this day. If you want to get a gaming phone for yourself on a budget, well, on a budget for flagship performance, of course, I will still recommend you the ROG Phone 9 FE. So yeah, that's about it. If you have any other questions regarding this phone, then do leave them down in the comment section below, and we'll see you guys in the next video.